Hello, everybody. I'm Alex,
And I'm Alex.
and this is our podcast,
Joel.
Joel. So we're here in mid-July
Yep.
after I would say maybe 2 months now of since our last podcast. You are now in an undisclosed location, and I'm in an undisclosed location. Uh,
They're
and
not the same location though.
yeah, we are communicating via
And
a
undisclosed.
internet video conferencing tool.
Undisclosed. Yes.
Um, so yeah, so Um, yeah, this is I guess not a weekly reminder anymore, but this is the official reminder that Nathan does not owe me $1.
That is and always will be correct. I know it doesn't matter because the video is not going to be a part of this, but I just screwed up my thing. I don't know what's wrong.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's sideways, and also you're like really small down in the corner. Can't figure out how to not look at me. I don't want to look at me. Oh well.
All right, yeah.
This is just how it's gonna be. That's fine.
So as I know, many of our oh, there you
It
go.
just went back. I don't know if you noticed that, but
Yeah, I did. Did you hear me
all
go?
right.
Oh,
Oh, that's what that was for. All right, we
uh,
figured it
yeah. So as I know, many of our listeners are very interested in the Philadelphia sports team update.
out.
But the only major American sport right now is baseball.
Right.
Phillies are not doing great. I think they're third in the division. They're like pretty close to a wild card spot, but they were first in their division like a month or two ago. So it's kind of disappointing that they've been so bad recently.
Are
They had
there
what?
are there 4 teams in the division?
There's 5 teams in the division.
5 teams. Interesting.
The All-Star game was like a week ago, or I guess like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And the Phillies had fewer All Stars than the Mets, so that's depressing. They had one, which is the
All
minimum.
right.
One is the minimum.
So you have to have one from every team.
Yes.
If the team is really bad, do they just like? I mean, I guess they're all like professional baseball players, right? So like, there's
Right.
probably not a huge gap between a team's best player and the other team's best players.
Right.
I'm just trying to imagine a scenario where like just a really bad player had to go to the All-Star game because that's just the minimum requirement, I guess. But
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, even good players in the All Star game don't always like do well.
yeah,
So it's not like somebody who was bad getting out would be any different than someone who's good getting out.
that's true.
Yeah. So there's the sports update.
All right, that was
Exciting.
yeah.
Yeah, I know. All right. So yeah, I know you had something you wanted to talk about. Did you want to bring that up?
Yeah, this is actually possibly relevant to you too. I don't know for sure. But I don't think we've mentioned, well, maybe we have. We may have mentioned in the podcast before that we drive roughly the same car. You have the newer, slightly newer version of it,
Yeah.
but they look more or less the same. So,
Yes.
um, so my actually, do your keys look like? Where's my camera? Like this or different?
They look like that.
Okay.
For the
Uh,
people who can't see, which is everyone, it's like a black fob with
yeah.
lock, trunk open, and alarm buttons, and you press like a button, and the actual key part like comes out. All right.
Right.
Anyway, go on.
Anyway, okay, so since they're the same, this is almost definitely going to apply to you too. Um, the battery in this, I guess, is dying. So it's a couple days ago, it didn't like nothing happened when I pressed the buttons,
Rip.
and but I was like, it's fine, right? Because like there's an actual key and there's a keyhole in the door, and you can use the key like a real key.
Yeah.
Um, And so I did that. I unlocked the door with the keys, and the car alarm went off. And I was super confused because I had just unlocked the car with the keys. Apparently, I've never heard of this before, but this is a feature on our car that if you unlock the car with the keys and don't start the ignition within like 5 or 10 seconds right away, the car alarm goes off. And it's like, even if you do start the ignition, on the little display in the gauges, it says like theft alert or something like that, like attempted theft.
So I assume
Because you unlocked the car with the keys instead of pushing the button.
All right, so I assume you did some research on this to find this out, right?
Correct.
So in all your research, did you find out any reason why this is a feature?
No, it's just everybody was like, I don't know why this happens. That's just
so dumb.
I went and looked in like the car settings and everything. I wanted to turn it off, but it's just the way it is.
What kind of monster would unlock their car with the key? Must be a theft.
Yep. So, fun fact: if you ever notice that if the buttons aren't working for you, you need to
make sure I start the car immediately.
Yes, be very quick. It'll like when you first so you unlock the door, and then when you open the door, it will like quietly honk and like let you know that it's about to freak out. If you don't start the car, you get 5 quiet honks, and then it just sets the car alarm off.
So, just out of curiosity, how do you turn off the car alarm?
I just waited for a while.
I don't know. It's still going off.
It's still because I was trying to like press the buttons on the thing to get it to shut up, and it didn't work, and I didn't think like, oh, I'll just start the ignition and it'll calm down. That seemed like the opposite of what it would, so I was the garage in my apartment is like underneath the building.
Right.
And my car was down there, and the car alarm was just going off in like the evening on whatever day this was, like in the apartment building. It was very annoying. And then eventually the car alarm shut itself off, and I went upstairs and tried to figure out what had just happened before I tried to do anything else. All in all, I think that's the worst feature I've seen in a car, and so yeah, heads up for that.
How long did it take? Okay, so your car is like 2013, right?
2012? Possibly 2012.
All right, so I still have 4 years to deal with this.
Yeah.
Hopefully I'll get a new car in 4 years.
Yeah.
The first time this happens, I'm just gonna walk away from my car and just be like, yep, that's it. I'm done with this car.
Go to a dealership and buy a new car.
Yep. I think Andy did that in Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
April was like, "Oh, didn't you lose your car one time?" He's like, "Yeah." She's like, "What'd you do?" He's like, "I just bought a new car."
That's I'm probably gonna buy a new car, not directly because of this, but this does encourage me.
Right.
I'll buy a new car pretty soon, and it won't be this model because that's super dumb, and I'm probably going to ask the person at the dealership if unlocking the door with the key does anything stupid, or I'll just try it.
You can easily test it at the dealership. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'll do.
All right. Great. That's good to know.
Yeah.
So, all right. So the other thing was, that movie. Did you watch the movie?
I did watch the movie. I watched it this morning before this. I woke up and that was pretty much the first thing I did.
Nice. So, for all our listeners, so this was recommended to me by a coworker last Friday.
Uh-huh.
He was like, "Oh yeah, there's this movie on Netflix." Because I told him that I watched Netflix like TV shows. He's like,
Yeah.
oh, there's this movie on Netflix you should watch. It's called Look Who's Back, and he told me about what the movie is, and I was like, that actually sounds kind of interesting. I'll watch it. So to set the stage, it was actually the second movie I saw that day, and it
Okay.
was the better of the two movies. The first movie I saw was Yesterday, which I don't know if you know, but it's the movie that's out right now. It's like this: everyone forgets the Beatles except for this one guy.
No, I haven't heard anything about that.
Oh yeah, it's a movie. Basically, it's about this guy who there's some event. He's like a failing musician, right? And
Okay.
some event happens, and he gets hit by a bus. Like the power goes out all over the world, and he gets hit by a bus. And when he wakes up, only he knows who the Beatles are. It's like the Beatles never existed. Like
Okay.
Google, nothing. The Beatles just never existed. So he goes on to basically write all of the Beatles songs and become
Huh.
extremely rich and famous.
Right.
So I thought it sounded like an interesting premise, so I went to see the movie, and they completely wasted the premise. Like, have you ever seen like a movie or TV show where like some ordinary person becomes rich and famous, and then they become an asshole, and then they realize that they're an asshole, so they go back to their normal life?
Yeah,
That's exactly what this movie was. Like
uh,
they didn't do anything. They never tried to explain what happened. They never tried to introduce any complications to it. Like there were these two other people who also remembered the Beatles somehow,
yeah.
and they didn't do anything. They like showed up like basically at the end of the movie, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, you guys know," and they're like, "Oh, thank you so much for like playing these songs. Like we remember, but we're not musicians." Like like there's no
Wow.
controversy about that. By the way, also there were like random other things that like also disappeared, like Coca-Cola and Harry Potter, and they just never explained anything about that or did anything with it. It was
It,
just it was such a it was not a good movie. I would not
yeah.
recommend it.
It sounded interesting, but that description,
Anyway,
not great.
so back to the movie we watched. We
Yeah,
both
the actual the
so
real one we're talking about.
yeah. So for all our listeners, this movie is called Look Who's Back. It's on Netflix, and it's about Hitler waking up in the modern day in Germany, and just going from there. So basically, uh, I mean, basically in the end, he becomes like kind of like a propaganda person who's trying to do exactly what he did in 1944 and basically create you know this what's the word I'm looking for? People not liking immigrants. Yeah. So, but everyone just thinks he's a Hitler impersonator.
Right.
That's kind of the thing. Um, First of all, I just want to say that this movie has a lot of social commentary, and we should not discuss any of it because we should just discuss how the funny parts.
I was watching this movie and thinking because you had told me that we were planning to talk about this, and for a lot of the movie, I was like, I don't know what to say about this part because it's just gonna get super political
Right?
immediately.
Yeah. I'm saying let's not talk about those parts.
Yes, that seems sensible.
Yeah. So, what do you think of the movie?
Uh, I don't know. It's kind of a like I thought it was well done. Um, it was a little bit uh, like concerning maybe. I mean, like the premise is that Hitler comes back and everybody thinks he's a comedian, but he's just like saying the things that you would expect him to say, and everybody's going like, "Well, yeah, that makes sense."
Right.
And so you're like, "Huh,
Yeah, I thought this seemed like a movie that we would watch at a physics bad movie night, except
yeah."
it was slightly better than that. It was like it was like somebody incompetent pitched this idea and the plot, and then
Yeah,
somebody competent took over and made the movie. I think
yeah, that's an interesting way to describe how that turned out.
yeah. I don't know. I felt like first of all, I was actually surprised. I mean, kind of, you could probably figure out from what I just said. I thought I was surprised that it wasn't terrible. Like in the beginning, I was like, this is gonna be funny how bad this is.
Yeah.
But it was actually okay. And I think all right, can we talk about the guy who drove him around in the beginning? And
The guy fired?
what?
The guy
Yeah,
that
the guy
got
who got
fired
fired.
away?
Yeah. So he had this relationship with the secretary at the
Yeah.
company. They like showed like one scene of them like making out, and then they didn't mention it for the rest of the movie. I was wondering like
Well,
it's
until the twist at the end, right? Like, well, I mean, not. What do you mean? I don't
like
know. Maybe we're thinking
like
about
okay,
this.
so their relationship was clearly very important, or not actually. Okay, so like in the beginning, to me, it seemed like Hitler and this guy were going to be the two main characters, right?
Yeah.
But then once that guy like took Hitler back to the TV station, he kind of became mostly irrelevant to the plot. And but they still continued showing him and this girl like and their relationship, and then they showed the scene, and then that was it. Like I guess they never like said, "Oh, these people aren't together anymore." It just never really mattered anymore. And it seemed like, why did they even show that in the first place?
I guess that's not the way I was.
How did you see it?
It was just kind of like a build up between those two, and then at the. Okay, so how much do we want to just like
Oh
give
yeah,
the
we're
movie
spoiling
away,
the yeah, we're spoiling the movie.
Okay, so at the end, after he's like in the mental hospital and
Right.
she's outside, I feel like it was all a build up to like that point with the two of them.
Yeah, I wasn't like emotionally invested. Like when you get to that point and she's like outside there crying, I was just like, okay, she's sad. Like I didn't like feel bad for her or like really. I don't know, maybe I'm just a terrible person.
So, well, do you think then that they should have
They should
had
have they should have
they should
had more
have
scenes with them.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, they
Okay.
should have had more scenes with them where they just showed like how they were taking things. By the way, speaking of the twist at the end, I was like genuinely confused for part of it because it was hard to tell like what was actually happening and what was happening in the movie.
Right. It was I think I'm still not sure. So, okay. Do you know there's like the parts of the movie that are not the movie in the movie,
Right?
but it's just like I guess it's maybe sort of the movie in the movie where they're just going around Germany and like he's interacting with people.
Yeah, I think that's not the movie in the movie. That's just the movie,
Okay.
I think.
There were a lot. I guess the reason I ask is there were lots of scenes of that type where somebody had like the black bar on their eyes or like their face would be blurred,
Uh-huh.
and I was confused why they were doing that if
Yeah,
it's
me
not
too.
movie in the movie.
Well, so okay, I might be very wrong about this. This is just what I was thinking at the time. I don't
Yeah.
specifically remember any of those scenes with the black bar that also had Hitler in it. Like maybe there.
Okay.
Do you remember any scenes like that?
Uh, I mean, not specifically, I guess, but
Like I was
I
thinking at the time,
feel
maybe
that's
those were just real footage of people in Germany being mad at immigrants that they just threw in for like realism purposes or something. But yeah,
that makes
I
sense.
what?
That makes sense.
Yeah, I actually think that I actually think that okay, obviously I'm not German and I've never been to Germany, but I feel like if Hitler impersonator or what people thought was a Hitler impersonator showed up in Germany saying the exact same things that Hitler said and never like breaking character at all, I feel like there would be a lot more like angry people about that than there were in this movie.
Yeah, it did. It like there were a couple of parts where, specifically the one where like I don't remember who it was exactly, but some like important people came to the TV lady, her office, and they were like, "There's been some complaints."
Yeah.
But then like, but we're cool with it. It's pretty funny. So,
Yeah, I feel like there would be like large protests.
yeah. Especially after like the dog thing for one. But I'm just thinking of all like the just straight up he's just making these like racist speeches
Right.
pretty unironically because he never
Right.
really does anything else. So
Yeah.
the dog thing is terrible, right? Like when he shot the dog, that was pretty bad.
Uh-huh.
But when he had the dead dog in the car,
Yes.
that was funny in like a really awful way. Like you feel bad for thinking that that's like
Right.
a funny addition, but kind of was.
I think it's funny that like he just shot the dog and then they just like left and that was it. Like there wasn't like,
Yeah.
oh, we'll pay for the dog, or oh, I'm gonna call the police because you shot a dog. Like they just were
Right.
like, oh, sorry, bye.
And I don't know what the laws are like in Germany, but I feel like it's typical for European countries to have stricter gun control than the
Right.
United States.
Yeah.
So just like pulling out a concealed pistol,
Yeah.
even without killing a dog with it,
Yeah, exactly.
might be I don't know for sure, but that just seems like it might be kind of wrong over there. This I don't this movie was full of things like that to me where it was like the scene was like funny but also just terrible. I don't that's I maybe that's just what you get when you make a movie about
Right.
actual Hitler.
Right. I agree. Yeah, I feel like I don't know. One thing that I think they did a good job of, well, obviously, I have no idea what would actually happen, but I at least felt like they had a realistic portrayal of what Hitler would do if he woke
Yeah.
up like in modern times. Like he was clearly like smart enough and personable enough to get a lot of people to follow him and vote for him.
Right.
Although it was never really clear to me what Hitler's plan was. Like, was he trying to get elected? Because he never did anything. Actually, no, he did do something because he went to that political party's office.
And then just yelled at the political party guy for
Yeah,
being
but so like he never did anything overtly political. He just like
yeah.
said things on TV that were incendiary and some people liked. Is interesting.
I feel like plan was to just become popular so that he would have the influence to do something like that in the future. Like we didn't I don't think we got that far yet. I assume since the movie ended and Hitler was still like,
Alive.
popular movie person and just still had a platform for all this stuff that would be kind of like the next steps.
Right.
But I would be interested to see when or if the TV people would turn on him.
Right.
Like, because I don't think there were a lot of people. There were people in the movie who they were showing as like agreeing with his message, but I don't think there were that many people in the movie who, if they knew it was actual Hitler telling them on like for
Unironically.
unironically just being serious that this is what they should do, I wonder how many of the people would still support him. And I don't think any of the TV people would support him.
Right. Well, the thing is, I feel like the TV people, at least the way they were portrayed in this movie, pretty much only cared about money. Like
Right.
that one guy who was like the bad guy, I guess, who showed sent the people the dog video.
Right.
So he was clearly also motivated by like revenge. Like he wanted to take down his boss. I guess maybe envy. I don't know. But like pretty much like I'm not. I don't know. I feel like at least the way if it were suddenly revealed to the every character in the movie that Hitler was real, he was the actual Hitler and he wasn't being ironic at all, I feel like just no one would like him at all. I don't even think there would be. I don't know, even all those people that they showed that agreed with his message about disliking immigrants. I doubt that they would at least that they would outright just agree with genocide.
Yeah.
Right. So anyway, this got a lot more less funny than I intended it to.
As far as people realizing it's actual Hitler and then not liking him anymore, that's basically what the one guy did. He looked at his footage and he was like, wow, something weird happened here, and
he figured out it was actually Hitler.
Actual Hitler, and then he was like,
actually Hitler.
Yeah. Then he freaked out. Was no longer.
I mean, it's concerning to I think that he thought that Hitler wasn't joking the whole time. So it's concerning to me that he only became that concerned when he found out it was actual Hitler.
Yeah. That's something. I didn't realize that it was going to be in German.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
I enjoyed listening to German, although reading the subtitles was while I was watching the movie, for part of the time I was making breakfast.
Uh-huh.
And so I had to every once in a while I would get distracted, and then I would still be listening because it sounded the same as what it did before. But if I wasn't looking at it and reading, I didn't understand anything, so I would have to go back and watch again.
Right, so what I did is I learned German for the movie.
Oh.
I don't know why you didn't do that.
Yeah, no, I really should have, actually, because then I would have been able to make my pancakes without looking at my phone the entire time.
Yeah, well, okay, so the thing was that I actually had a 3-day weekend, so that explains why I had, a little bit more time to learn German.
What'd you do Friday?
Well, before we get to that, I learned German, obviously. But before we get to that, why don't we finish this up with a movie rating? So out of 5 stars, how would you rate this movie?
I would rate it 3.5 stars for being a little bit less entertaining than I was hoping, but also having a very clear message and delivering that well, I think, relatively. And then I have to take a little bit off for the whole thing being in German, but not quite as much as I was going to just a second ago, because you're right, it was my fault for not learning German. So I guess we'll just split the blame there. I'll give it a solid 3.5 out of 5.
Well, I think the last 2 times the last time we rated a movie, I'm going to rate it lower than you. I'm going to give it a 2.5 out of 5.
Okay.
And I don't know, I thought there was some confusion towards the end about like making clear what was actually happening and what was happening just in the movie. I
Right.
thought some of the, like I said, I feel like the dropping that guy, like him becoming not that important of a character or not as important of a character, I feel like they should have kept him when the guy was like, you have to hire me or I'm taking Hitler, and they just hired him as like a coffee guy.
Right.
I feel like they should have just like had him be Hitler's, the guy with Hitler the whole time instead of just
Right.
separating them.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And then some of the reasons you mentioned. Obviously, I learned German, so I'm not taking it off for that. But
Right.
yeah, so there you go. 6 out of 10 stars from Alex and Alex.
Yep. That
Uh,
means we slightly recommend it, I think.
yeah. Although if you
Yep, that's
or you
probably
don't
true.
or you don't feel like learning German.
That is a huge commitment. Yeah, I needed that third day on my weekend to even have a
Right.
chance. But
Right. Yeah. All right. Anyway, so on Friday I went to my company's picnic, but I only went for like an hour because all the people that I know who are were hired at the same time as I was were at another event. So I just like went and then saw one person I knew, and then after I finished talking to him, I was like, all right, I don't have any reason to be here. Um, I went and saw Yesterday, like I mentioned.
right?
I went shopping. I've been watching The West Wing. It's the TV show I'm watching now, so I watched a lot of The West Wing. Yeah, that's mostly it.
All right. I've not seen very much of The West Wing, but people who watch The West Wing tell me that it's good.
It's pretty good, and right now I'm at like a very uh like I don't know, exciting I guess part of the plot. So
Yeah.
yeah, are you watching any shows right now?
Not really, no. I just in general commentary, uh not really saying anything about how likely I am to watch The West Wing, but I tend to find that like the 30-minute comedy shows are the ones that I stick with and like really like I'll sit down and watch a bunch of it all at once.
Uh-huh.
And then any sort of drama TV shows, um, like I could get invested in it, but they're typically not the ones that I'll just like watch a bunch of. Like, for example, have you ever seen Supernatural?
No, but I know Katie has watched it, so
Right.
I've heard a little
And
bit about it.
yeah, and so I've had it recommended to me by people like her that watched it and liked it, and um, I've seen some of it and it's good, but I just when I like think of what I want to sit down and watch, uh, that doesn't really come up in the same way that like The Office or Parks and Rec or any of those sorts of Brooklyn Nine-Nine was my most recent one
You
that I
finished
just
it?
I'm actually not entirely sure. 'Cause so okay, so season 6. No, I'm pretty sure I did because I was watching. I was I started a couple months ago, and so I was just catching up and watching at whatever pace I felt like,
Uh-huh.
and then I got to at some point before they had finished airing all of season 6, I caught up,
Right.
and then they continued to put new episodes out, but like once a week or whatever it is that TV shows do. And I wasn't thinking once a week to go back and watch the new episode, so
Right.
I let basically the season finished. I wasn't like actively watching, um, So at some point when I went back, there were just more episodes than I had watched, and I started watching them again, and I think I finished them. That's the only reason why I'm not certain whether I've caught up or not.
I see. I did watch all of that. Actually,
Yeah.
I was surprised that it was still running. I thought it was over.
Yeah.
I got to the end and I was like, wait, that's clearly not the end.
Right. They're
So, and then I found out that it's just still going.
they're back for at least one more season.
I don't know if you saw, but they officially announced that the next season of The Good Place will be the final season.
I did see that. Um, it's kind of depressing because that's a really good show,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to watch more of it. But I've seen some people who have commented that it's good that they know that in advance and they're going out on their terms, and they're also not trying to drag it out for a
Right.
super long time just for the sake of having more episodes.
I mean, the thing is, I'm just surprised that it's 4 seasons of what it is. Like,
Yeah.
it moves so quickly. Like, they really could have spent like they could have like taken the first season and then just done like 7 more seasons of that, or 2 more seasons of that, and then 3 seasons of what they did in season 2. Like, honestly,
Yeah.
like they just they really have moved the show very quickly. So it's honestly impressive to me that it's even lasting 4 seasons, that they can
Yeah.
keep content coming that quickly.
Yeah, no, that's a good point too.
I
I
went
think
through it.
it's
Go ahead.
I think it's good that they have been moving quickly, because knowing that they only have one season left, I mean, based on how the last season ended, it's kind of hard to imagine it wrapping up in just one season,
Right.
except for the fact that they've done so much in all the other
Right.
seasons.
Like at the
So,
end of season 1, you could not have imagined that all the stuff that happened in season 2 would happen.
right. Yeah, they've been really good about uh, keeping things moving along without allowing us to get lost.
Right.
It's been good.
Huh. Good.
uh,
It's in the name. I went through and listened to Good Place, the podcast. They have a
I have as
podcast.
well.
You
That's
listen to all
very
of them?
good. Yes. Those are really enjoyable. I
Yeah.
like I like the behind the scenes stuff from people who you wouldn't expect to want to hear from,
Right.
like all of the crew and other people who like do stuff for the show, but like you've never heard of them.
Right. Yeah, I was
It
like, why would I want to listen to an episode with like this set decorator? And then afterwards, I was like, I want to become a set decorator.
Yeah.
Actually, I didn't really want to become a set decorator, but listening to the podcast like made me want to move to Hollywood and like become a production assistant just to like be on movie sets because it seems so fun.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing about like the writers' rooms,
Right.
things like that, where you're just like, I mean, maybe they're just making their job sound great because they're on a podcast, just saying whatever they want. But like, it seems like they just kind of sit around and like talk with a group of people, like kind of like we do with the movies, but like, you know, a little better than that. And
Yeah, they're a
also,
lot funnier than we are.
they're paid, I assume, a pretty good amount.
Right.
So it seems like it would be a fun career.
Yeah. And like the actors who have come on and said like that they try to like the guy who hosts it, Mark Evan Jackson, who's always like he tries to avoid all the spoilers. Like, what the heck, dude, I would be like getting all the information that I could.
just just go to Mike Schur at the beginning of every season and just make him tell you everything because you're involved with it, and that seems like,
He probably would.
yeah. I especially if you're a writer, then I feel like on one hand that's a pretty cool job because it seems kind of like you're messing around and making stuff up and just making jokes and all that. But on the other hand, like everything ever has been spoiled for them because they made it.
They made it, yeah.
Feels like you'd miss out on some of the mystery of the show.
Yeah, that's true.
So
Actually, it's interesting. I was in the process of listening to the podcast when my family was in Los Angeles.
yeah,
Yeah, my family was in LA in June while I was listening to the podcast, and I was like, oh, so what do we want to do in LA? And I was like, we should go on the Universal Studios tour because on the Universal Studios tour you can see the lot where they filmed The Good Place. It's part of the tour.
that's pretty cool.
But it turns out that it's part of Universal Studios, the theme park. You have to go get into the theme park to take the tour. So
you would have had to get tickets to the park just to get tickets for the tour.
right.
And then you weren't going to do other stuff in the park, so.
Right. It would have been a big waste of money, so we did not do that.
Right.
Also LA's really big. Like there's all these it takes like an hour to drive through LA.
Yeah, that seems bigger than a place I would want to live.
I mean, a lot of it's because of traffic, but still.
Right. It's an interesting sort of place.
Yeah. All right. How long have we been? 41 minutes. That's
pretty
cool.
good.
Do you have anything else that you can think of?
I noticed something this morning. I don't know if this is going to be much of a discussion or just kind of like this exists. Are you familiar with my brother's YouTube channel?
I know it exists. I'm not familiar with it.
Okay, well, for those of you who are listening, who are interested in music, my brother and to a lesser extent, I have composed some piano music and posted it on his YouTube channel. Have you ever seen the videos where it's like there's the keyboard and then all the notes like
yeah.
A lot of them are those sorts of things, and then some of them are also just like the sheet music scrolling across and playing as it goes. And then but that's what he posts. And I was watching one of his videos because I'm subscribed to him, because they're good. You should all also go and subscribe if you're listening.
Please like and subscribe.
Please like and subscribe someone else's YouTube channel. It's called The Piano Man, which is like not a very good name because there's lots of people called The Piano Man. So
good luck finding it.
Yeah, I guess just subscribe to all of the ones that are called. He's got like 40 or 50 subscribers, so he's like definitely not the one that comes up when you search that. So, but if you can figure it out, or you could email us at alexandalex@joelthepodcast@gmail.com, which is now our real email.
Yeah.
We've been making it up as a joke in some of our past episodes, but now we actually have that email address.
Well, the thing is, we actually told all of our listeners that we really had the email address alexandalex@joelthepodcast.com@gmail.com.
Right.
But it turns out we don't have that email address because it's too long. So, for real, actual real this time,
yes,
email us at alexandalex@joelthepodcast@gmail.com.
Yes. So if you're confused about how to subscribe to my brother's YouTube channel, you can email us at that email. I'm not going to say it again. Or these are going to be posted on YouTube, right? That's what we decided.
Yes.
So link in the description.
Link
sure to-
below.
Be sure to comment what you think of his YouTube videos on our YouTube videos so that we can get more subscribers than him and then laugh. What was I
Well, how are we
gonna
going to get
say?
more subscribers than him if you told everyone listening to this to subscribe to him?
Oh yeah,
Hey,
I've
don't
got to
subscribe. Don't. Oh wait. Only like
subscribe to
70%. 7 out of 10 people. Everybody, roll a dice.
him.
And if you roll a 6, don't subscribe. Otherwise, subscribe.
Yep. And then everybody definitely subscribe to us.
Yes. If you, no matter what you roll on the dice, subscribe to here.
Correct. Yeah, so that's how you'll be able to find his channel. Anyway, the reason I brought all of that up is I was watching one of his videos earlier today, and I went and looked at the comments on the video, and usually the comments are from his friends that I know, and like their YouTube channels are just their name, so
Right.
like I know who it is that's commenting. And they always say just stuff about the song or whatever. But there was a comment on this video, and I'm gonna go find the comment so that I can just read it. Which means give me just a second to get another device so that I don't mess up the call.
Right. I'll just talk while you do that.
Sounds
So,
good.
what?
Sounds good.
Okay, so last night I went over to one of my friend's house and
And I'm back.
all right.
Actually, you can keep going though because
Yeah.
I have to find the video.
So basically, it was a game night, is the long and short of it, and they had Can Jam, but it was mini Can Jam.
I have mini Can Jam.
Mini Can Jam is like 80 times worse than regular Can Jam. Have you ever
Oh, that's
played it?
fun. I have not played it.
I mean, like, okay, so it might be just because of me, because I'm like kind of competitive. Like, and also the scenario is we were playing it in this guy's like hallway, so there was like no way to move around it all,
Yeah,
and you're kind of like reaching around furniture to hit it into the can.
that
But it
just
was just like
yeah,
it was so difficult to be precise and good, so much
that does
more
sound
difficult than
kinda
it is in regular Can Jam. Anyway, I just want to say, first of all, that I'm surprised that anyone would even make a small Can Jam. Like, can you imagine, like, oh, yeah, we want to make this game except it's indoors and you just throw, like, a tiny disc and there's tiny cans. Like, I don't know. Now that I say it out loud, it doesn't sound as stupid as it does in my head, but it sounds pretty stupid in my head.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like, based on that description, it sounds like the mini Can Jam you played is actually bigger than the mini Can Jam that I have.
So let me see your mini Can Jam.
I'm going to get my mini Can Jam so that we can check this out.
All right. I'd be surprised if they were like it's like micro USB and mini USB. No, that's it.
Oh, really?
Wait, let me. Yeah, that's basically it. That one's obvious.
It's-
Yours is obvious. Yours is not Can Jam brand.
Yeah, it is. Can Jam.
Oh, it is. Wait, take it out. Take it out.
All right. I've not actually taken this out ever before, so.
Pretty sure his said like Can Jam Mini on it. Yours says something else.
All right.
How tall would you say that is, roughly?
I think this is the can.
Yeah.
This is like 5 inches tall.
Yeah, maybe the cans we were playing with were slightly bigger. But, like, you know, it's the same concept. Like,
Right.
small enough that you could play in your house
Right.
without breaking stuff.
If I assemble the can here, I think it sits like this, right?
I can't
And
see
then-
it.
Yeah, I know. Sits like that.
Your
and
slot's
then-
in the bottom.
That's how it's supposed to be, right?
No, in normal Can Jam and the Can Jam I played last night, the slot is in the middle. Well, closer to the top, but like not on the top or bottom. Yeah, let me try and find it.
I think this is here. Oh. Yeah, actually, maybe there's multiple. So here's why I did that. It looks like there's like a slap shot method. I don't know why you would do that if the slot isn't at the bottom.
Okay, here I'm gonna share my screen with you.
Okay.
See what I'm talking about. So it literally says CanJam. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
So it says CanJam Mini, and there's a slot in the middle,
Okay.
and like you play it like you can see in this example they like set it on a table.
I think I may be wrong, but I think that this can jam is minier than that can jam. Not all mini can jams are the same amount of mini.
Okay, anyway, can you read the comment?
Oh yeah, I still need to go find that. I got distracted by the
Anyway, I'm
time.
talking then. The other thing was they had Super Smash Bros. And like 4 people brought their Switches, and he had like 3 TVs. So
Wow.
yeah, not like in use. He just like had one normal TV and then just 2 others like lying around that he doesn't use.
Did this guy live on his own and he just has 3 TVs?
He lives on his own. I mean, it's not that. I mean, TVs only cost a couple $100. So
Yeah.
it's not like he's like rolling in money to have 3 TVs.
It's
Like-
just strange to have 3 TVs but not use them.
Like I feel like he just like had a TV. Like I'm thinking of getting a new TV just because the one that I got from my aunt is a little bit smaller than I would like. So then I would have 2. But I feel like that's what happened to him. Like he had one and he was like, this is a little bit too small. So then he got a new one. And then I guess maybe it happened again, but maybe he for some other reason he had a 3rd TV. But anyway, the long and short of it is, whenever I'm always interested to see like how good just other people are at Smash that I play, because outside of actual tournaments, most people I play are worse. Well, outside of tournaments and online, most people I play are not as good as I am. But there was definitely a guy there who was at least as good or better than I am. It's hard to say since we were playing like 5-player Smash.
Yeah.
Like to say that he was better or not. But like anyway, I'm just kind of gonna keep rambling because there's a Smash tournament about an hour 10, hour 15 north of me next weekend that I'm thinking of going to. So I bought a Pro Controller that's wired, because having a wireless Pro Controller at a tournament is just complete. I don't think my controller has a disconnect function.
Yeah.
And it doesn't run on batteries. It runs on rechargeable batteries, but doesn't back when my brother and I would go to Smash tournaments for Smash 4, we had these classic controllers that you plugged into a Wii remote, so you could just disconnect from the Wii by taking the batteries out of your Wii remote. But I don't think I could do that with mine. So if I accidentally pressed a button during setup, while I was somewhere else in the building, it would be super annoying. Anyway.
All right, I'm ready.
All right, good, because I was just completely rambling.
All right. So in addition to since I have to click on the video to read the comment, I figured I would just play the video into my phone. I don't know how that's going to sound.
I'll let you
but
know if it sounds bad.
All right, it's 42 seconds long, so you can just listen until the end, regardless.
Okay.
Let's. I don't know where the speakers are here. There you go. All right, and then the comment on this video is, you guys better be skipping school to storm Area 51 with me. We need as many bodies as we can get. Thanks. September 20th. Be ready.
What's the name of this guy's account?
I don't know if I'm going to pronounce this right, but it looks like Sardar Biglari.
I mean, obviously I've seen all the stuff about storming Area 51, but I'm so curious as to how that got started. I am like not in the loop about that. Yeah, it's super blurry. I can't see it at all.
No. I don't know how this works.
Okay, it's not a big deal. I don't need to see it. Oh, now I can see it. This guy just commented on your brother's. How long ago? When was this video posted?
This was posted, I think, yesterday. Yesterday morning or so. It appears to have 16 views. It's got 4 thumbs up and no thumbs down. That's pretty good.
I'm gonna go put a thumbs down right now.
Only if you can find his YouTube channel.
Well, I've been to his YouTube channel before, so.
Oh, well then, yeah, you'll be able to. It's fine.
I'm gonna like that guy's comment too.
I disliked that guy's comment.
Well, I don't understand. Are you not gonna storm Area 51 with him?
Absolutely not. Why would you do that? That sounds like a bad idea.
The problem is he really didn't leave enough details about how you're gonna do it, like where you're gonna meet him and what time and.
Oh, September 20th. Skip school. You ready?
What time?
Oh, I don't know.
Although if you're skipping school, it's probably during school hours.
Right. So sometime between like 7:30 and 3.
Well, actually, the Area 51 is supposed to be in like a desert somewhere, right?
It is in the desert, yeah.
Yeah, so you probably would have to skip school regardless of what time on September 20th it was.
Yeah, you're correct.
I hope our thousands of subscribers go and like that guy's comment.
And I hope they all dislike that guy's comment. We'll see. Well, that'll be vote on who your favorite Alex is by either thumbs up or thumbs down on that guy's comment.
Thumbs up right here.
Yep, and I am team thumbs down. Once again, thumbs up for Alex and thumbs down for Alex on that guy's comment.
All right, I just wanted to say 2 things. First of all, can your brother actually play all of the music on his channel, or he just writes it and it sounds good, but he can't play it?
He has been learning to play some of it. Some of it is unplayable because there's like too many notes and the intervals are too big, but it just sounds good. So yeah, he definitely knows some.
All right, the second thing I wanted to say is back when I was talking about Smash, I realized it sounded like I was bragging, and I definitely was, but now I feel bad about it, so I just wanted to say I apologize for sounding very arrogant there. All right, anyway.
Yeah, as punishment for bragging about Smash, everybody, regardless of your favorite Alex, now has to go thumbs down that comment.
Man, I can't believe our millions of subscribers just like that comment.
That guy's gonna feel so bad about posting that.
That's gonna feel so bad when billions of dislikes come on his comment.
Not just because of all the dislikes, but when he shows up to Area 51 on September 20th with like a dozen other people there who actually thought that was going to be a good idea and just gets like tear gassed or something, then he's gonna feel like an idiot then.
So what do you think? Do you think that the government's hiding aliens from us in Area 51?
I think it's almost certainly true that the government's hiding aliens from us. It may or may not be in Area 51. There's like 50 other areas that come before 51. It could be in any one of
Maybe
them.
they just started at 51 to make us think that there were more areas.
I mean, I'm not that big of a conspiracy theorist. Like, I mean,
You obviously know that Trump did 9/11, right?
yeah, and the moon is fake, but I'm not going to claim that there's not 50 other areas. Who just starts numbering at 51?
I don't know, the government's pretty smart. Or maybe they're so dumb that they would never do that.
You know what? Both of those sound extremely plausible. I'm now questioning literally everything.
Wait, are you even real? Are you a government spy?
Am I just you, but making my voice sound a little bit different?
Are you me from the future sent to spread a campaign of disinformation through our podcast?
Oh, if I was from the future,
Hey, the Phillies,
what?
Phillies won.
See, if I was from the future, I would have known that and wouldn't have needed to say what just then.
Well, maybe you're from the future and you're just pretending you're not, so you said what, so I would think you weren't from the future.
Since I'm from the future, I knew that you were going to come back with that.
So you admit you're from the future.
No, I'm just saying that if I was from the future, since I am, that would be what I would have just known. And hypothetically, definitely being from the future, I would be able to come up with a really good response to that.
All right. Did you have anything else you wanted to say on the podcast?
No, I think that's enough for today. This was a pretty, I don't know, we had a weird finish there.
Well, we also had a weird start because we were talking about Hitler.
Right. Yeah, this was a very strange podcast episode. Maybe I don't know if we want to discuss this while podcasting or if we should just talk about it right afterwards. But if we are going to post this podcast, it would make sense to also post all of the rest of the podcasts for context.
Yeah, we should definitely do that.
So we need to arrange how we want to do that.
Yes.
I don't know if that's going to be a very interesting conversation, though, so we might just want to
just discuss it after.
Yeah. All right. Well, that'll just be a secret from our listeners then.
They won't know how we posted all of our podcasts online.
They'll have no clue. All right. Well, in that case, I'm Alex.
And I'm Alex.
And this has been our podcast, Joel.